Alarming signals Russia's nuclear posture. Disturbing news emerges from Russia. Putin, angered by setbacks in Ukraine, rattles his nuclear saber. His recent actions raise profound concerns. The world watches, holding its breath. Putin's rhetoric has become increasingly belligerent. He hints at using tactical nuclear weapons. His words send chills down the spines of world leaders. The potential consequences are too grave to ignore. Adding to the anxiety, Russia conducts nuclear exercises. These drills simulate strikes on European cities. The message is clear. Putin wants the West to feel vulnerable. He seems willing to risk annihilation to achieve his goals. The situation is dire. The world stands at a precipice. Putin's nuclear brinkmanship threatens global security. The stakes have never been higher. We must act decisively to prevent disaster.
Putin's aggression extends beyond Ukraine's borders. He has chosen Belarus as a staging ground for his nuclear ambitions. This move significantly escalates the threat to Europe and the world. Nuclear-capable missiles are now stationed in Belarus. These weapons are dangerously close to NATO territory. The potential for miscalculation or accident is terrifyingly real. This deployment is a blatant provocation. It violates international norms and agreements. Putin seems intent on redrawing the security map of Europe by force. The international community must respond with unwavering resolve. Appeasement will only embolden Putin. We must make it clear that his nuclear adventurism will not be tolerated.
The spectre of nuclear war hangs heavy. Putin's recklessness demands a firm response. Some argue that a preemptive strike may be the only way to avert catastrophe. This is a deeply unsettling proposition. The use of military force, even in a preventive capacity, carries enormous risks. Yet, the potential consequences of inaction may be even more horrific. A preemptive strike would aim to cripple Russia's nuclear capabilities. It would target missile silos, command centers, and other critical infrastructure. The goal would be to prevent a devastating first strike by Putin. This is not a decision to be taken lightly. It would have far-reaching consequences, but in the face of an existential threat, we must be prepared to consider all options.
Section 4. Precision and legitimacy. Key considerations. A preemptive strike, if deemed absolutely necessary, must meet the highest standards of precision and legitimacy. Failure to do so would have disastrous consequences, both morally and strategically. Intelligence gathering is paramount. We must know the exact locations of Putin's nuclear assets. Collateral damage must be minimized at all costs. Civilian casualties are unacceptable. International law must be carefully considered. A preemptive strike cannot be seen as an act of aggression. We must build a strong legal and moral case for such action. The support of the international community is essential. This cannot be a unilateral action. We must work with our allies to ensure that any preemptive strike is seen as legitimate and necessary.
Section 5. Navigating the aftermath. International support and diplomacy. The aftermath of a preemptive strike would be fraught with challenges. The world would be on edge, bracing for retaliation. Diplomacy and international cooperation would be more critical than ever. We would need to rally the international community. A unified front would be essential to deter further aggression. Sanctions would need to be maintained and strengthened. Humanitarian assistance would be paramount. The innocent victims of conflict, both in Ukraine and potentially in Russia, would need our support. Rebuilding trust and fostering reconciliation would be a long and arduous process. The specter of nuclear war would linger. We would need to work tirelessly to prevent a resurgence of this threat. Strengthening international norms and institutions would be essential.